now.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, our sister invited me to come and share with you some few thoughts. Mostly, I'm going to focus on personal finance. He was trying to talk about it because I'm also a teacher here. I'm a teacher in London, UK, and I teach mainly finance. I teach personal finance, and it's a broad topic, a broad area, and I'm happy to share with you a few thoughts. I assume everyone at least can speak Tree. So if I intermingle with Tree and other things, you please pardon and forgive me. Okay. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that's what I was trying to do. See if I can share with you some of my notes. Let me see. Trying to see if I can share with you some of my notes. Because that's why I was trying to use a bigger device, because that has a bigger screen. Can you see my screen? Can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see. They are larger now.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was trying to use a bigger device, and I think it is in connectivity there. Personal finance, if we talk about it, it covers 5 key areas: spending, income, savings, investments, and protection. That is managing your financial risk. We cannot talk. We're not going to talk about all of them. We probably will spend more time on the first two: income and spending, and spending and income. And that's what the two main ones that you will look at. And if you now at a personal level, you should all try as much as you can to make a budget. And a budget, you could do something like this. Let me see. Good. This is a simple budget that I usually normally use. I have my income side, and I'm going to make this more interactive so you can help me. Weekly income, monthly income, and yearly income. Okay. So, for example, and everyone should get pen and a paper. You could do your own income as we go along, so you could fit in for me, please. So, for example, when I'm talking about income, it could be individual income or household income. Household income is everyone who lives in the house, how much they earn and how much they contribute. So, yeah, and you need to actually write these down, okay, about how much money comes in every week, every month, and every year. And then we could total them. Okay, write your own, not my own, your own. If I have time, I could share some of these spreadsheets with you and you put them in. It helps a lot every month, every week. When you put this in on your spreadsheet, it helps you. Money from employment, from other savings and investment, from your pension, maybe gifts from friends. I deleted others because in my world where I live, families get benefits if their income is low. But I'm not quite sure that system will apply in Ghana. So if you can just get a piece of paper, scribble down your money that comes into your household on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. And then on the other side, you do the same for the expenditure. Expenditure, you can put the essentials first, things that absolutely must be spent. So, for example, how much do you spend on food and drinks on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and on a yearly basis? No, if you can only do one. You can do the monthly one, and then you could fill in the rest because we don't have half an hour. Okay. And then how much do you spend on clothes? How much do you spend on the kids? Now, these are all examples of household expenditure. It is different for everyone. It can be different for everyone. I was just assuming and making up what I think in my household, what I spend money on. Savings and investments, family social support. Ghana is very important. That will include things like money you give to your siblings, other people, funeral donations, and all that you make on a weekly basis or monthly basis. Transport to and from work. I spelled health wrongly there, Brian, forgive me. Health and beauty, transport, utilities. Utilities is your energy bills, your water bills, phone and broadband. Do you have one big one-off item or odd and stores? Odd and stores are items that comes in when you are not expecting it. That is your weekly budget. So when you live here with me, you will go home and sit down and go through this very, very carefully. You go through this very, very carefully. And then you will try to balance your income and expenditure and see how much spare cash you have at the end of the month. Time will not allow us to go through details and fill it in, but you can do it on your own, at a free time. If that's okay with you, I would like to move on.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so the reason is, why do I spend more than I earn? Ask yourself, when you have done your budget, you're saying, do you actually spend more than you earn? Trust me, I did a few budgets for people in Ghana and it was horrible. Almost literally everybody that we went through this, you realize that they're spending more than they're earning, including your own government. Last time we look at it, their what we call deficit finance is horrible. Every month, how much money comes into their coffers and how much they spend. Everyone does that. And if you do that, you're going to run into trouble. If you spend more than you're earning, you are going to run into trouble. That's my next point. Can I afford to spend this? Can I afford it? If not, look at your budget, look at the expenditure and see which one has to come down. Now, later on, when you have completed your budget, work each one as a percentage of your income. For example, let's say in Accra, average rent, maybe, I don't know the average rent now, but I'm going to make a hypothetical assumptions. If, for example, maybe you have a very self-contained, they call it, the one with the toilet and bath and a spare room. Let's say it goes about 1,200 cedis per calendar month. If it's 1,200 cedis per calendar month, I know that in Ghana, a lot of people take their rent, they take the rent over a long period. But don't make assumptions, I'm going to pay for 2 years and that's it. I'm going to pay now. You have to assume that every month, 1,200 goes into your rent, okay? Otherwise, when you get to the next 2 years, you wouldn't know where, and you will run into my last point, you're going to get into debt because you are not actually budgeting and planning your expenses. Okay. And you can work that as a percentage of your income. So let's say, for example, I'm a teacher and my salary in Ghana is about 2,500 pounds. Oh, sorry, 2,500 cedis. And my rent is 1,200. So 1,200, if I divide it by 2,500, for example, it means 48% of my income goes straight into rent. Work it out and see how much a percentage of your income goes into rent, how much goes into food, for example. You need to work all these out, okay? And then you try to see if, for example, I feel that 48% of my income is going to rent, that is a bit too much. I need to reduce it to about 40%. Now, if you have a chance to go through your budget every week, every month, you will be able to calculate these. If you are on your own, you will be doing it on your own based on your own income. If you have a partner, you can't work this out based on you and your partner's income. I don't know how the system works in Ghana, whether you and your partner's income are classified as household earnings. If not, that is unfair. Okay, so you look at all that, and if you do, you are going, and I'll come back to probably some things that a lot of you will prepare to happy to hear. That is potential for earnings. How do you, because it's two things. Either you reduce your household expenses, and sometimes it's so tight you can't, or you increase your earnings in order to balance your budget. Okay. And I have my next slide, which is we call it 6 steps to financial freedom. Gather all your personal finance information, not an estimate. Decide who the budget is for. Is it for family or individual? Be as accurate as possible with your figures. Cost of repaying any existing debt, if you have any debt or any interest on it, try to see how it goes. And then, are you making any contribution to investment or savings? I prefer to use the word investment instead of savings, because investments actually bring returns, savings doesn't. I'll talk about that when I get to the income side.
Uncle, we can't see the table.
I've changed. Can you see my screen?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I've changed it. I've changed the table. Now I'm talking through the points.
Okay.
Can you, if you can see my screen? Now,
no,
you can't. Oh, okay.
So then, if we can't see the screen, the table, let's see your face.
Right. Sure. Let me go back onto. Yeah. Okay. You can see my face. I was trying to. Yeah. So the point that I was talking about is gather all your personal information about your personal finance, not estimate. You go to the market every week, every month. You know how much you spend. Put them together. Look at your income. Put them together, and then see the difference. Now, on the expenditure side, work out what percentage of my income or earnings go into this. What percentage goes into that? Is there any chance I can reduce it, for example? And then that is helping you to manage your personal finance. Okay, that's about. And then the other side, which is sorry I couldn't show you my slide, is the income side. That side is the income side. How much income is coming into the household? Is it 2 people working, or is only 1 person working? And how much do they earn? Where is the income coming from? You need to work out on that. Now, in UK here, I'll share some of the experiences of people. I'm a teacher, so my main income comes from my work as a lecturer. It's not a lot. Probably it will not, because here, if I work out, for example, my mortgage alone takes about 60% of my income. But then I combine with my wife's income. Both of us combine our income, and then we use that to manage our household budget. You try to, I know maybe employment situations is different in every country, and especially in Ghana. So I don't know how best you can take a second job, for example. But there is something on my slide which I couldn't show you here. I call it, everyone should need to have a side hustle, a side hustle challenge. The side hustle is at least try and see if you could do something else aside your main job that will generate income and revenue for you. Yeah, that is so important. Look, here, a side hustle can be anything. It doesn't matter. I'm thinking of a few things here. Is there anybody who's a graphic designer? Is there anybody who's a graphic designer? So maybe you use your computer to do posters for people, and you get a little bit, you get a little bit of income from it. Side hustle, side hustle. Here, people do. I know one of my friends. He works in the hospital, but he does morning cleaning every day. He goes to office, clean the office for about 2 hours. He'll get to the office about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We'll clean the office for 2 hours, and then after that, he will change and then put on the clothes and tie everything, and then go to the hospital to work. He's a hospital administrator. Wow. That is a side hustle. A lot of people do security job at the weekends. It's a side hustle. People do Uber. They use their own car to do Uber. They get Uber license and they do Uber as a side, because you need to do something to improve your income. Okay, so let me bring it to Ghana, and I want everyone to chip in. What are some of the things that in Ghana people could do as a way of generating extra income, for example? I want everyone to chip in here.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been in the country for long, so I don't know little silly things that people could do to generate extra income. And I also share with you one example. I came to Ghana once, and I had a friend who was teaching at Prempeh College, Kumasi. And he was complaining, we sat down like I'm talking to you guys, going through income and expenditure, and it was terrible. Because both him and his wife, the income could last them for barely 2 weeks. Barely 2 weeks. And I said, okay, let's look at other things that you could do. And you say, oh, now I had the idea now with you here. I said, there'll be so many things that you could do. For example, as a teacher, you could do home teaching. You could do extra home teaching. You could do farming, gardening. You could grow vegetables in your farm that you could, at least, even if you're not selling it, you could use that to reduce your expenditure. And I asked him, is your village not too far from Kumasi? He said, oh, I'm from Akrokre. Akrokre is only about an hour drive from here. Why don't you go in there and grow some maize, corn over the weekend? You and your wife, you go in there and you cultivate cassava and stuff like that. It's not beyond you. You're a teacher, so what? If you do a little bit of farming to support your income, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? In Ghana, one thing that I saw people doing, and I really fascinated me, in the evening, because when I come to Ghana, I live around the Chimota area, and I walk around there, and I'm trying to look at what people do in the evening as an extra that can generate extra income. And what that fascinated me was the one who was frying yam. There was somebody frying yam, and there was a queue there. Yeah, because as soon as it comes out of the pot, it's gone. So if you spend about 100 cedis to buy yam and other things on the side of the road in the evening, and then you actually fry that, and you manage to generate even 150 cedis extra, you make 50 cedis profit. And that could be extra income that comes to the family. It doesn't matter look, this is one thing that frustrates me in Ghana. People say, oh, I'm a graduate when I'm in Uber. Somebody told me that. I say, make graduate one. We're a university lecturer, so what? Who cares? When you actually do your Uber and generate other income, is to support your family. Okay. I'm just thinking of a few other things that people could do to generate extra income for you. And as probably I'm talking to you guys and scratching through your head, and when you go home today, apart from your budget that you're going to do, also you need to come out with a plan of what else you could do to generate extra income to support the family, so that you don't run into financial difficulties. Because I think always one biblical verse that comes into my mind is Ecclesiastes 10:19,
Wow.
Ecclesiastes 10:19. Or say sikani edi adina.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
When you are actually struggling with finance, you can't even go to church properly, because your mind is somewhere else. Okay, and it doesn't matter what you achieve. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Is everything okay?
Very, very okay.
Yeah, I can't
The
see your face.
Ecclesiastes. No. The Ecclesiastes is pinching us. But, bro, I want to say something.
Yeah.
Ghana, what we do most is buy and sell.
Okay.
Aside our work, aside many things.
As a side hustle. Buying and selling as a side hustle. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, it's common in our Ghana society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, they at least, and I do remember my early days in my life when I was there, almost all the teachers that I was working with, they were all doing side hustle and selling stuff here and there to support their husbands.
Yeah.
And that is very much applauded. But now, when you're doing side hustle, but one thing I didn't like about your side hustle, Adwa, was that most of you don't actually look at goods that we call fast-moving goods. Fast-moving good. Okay. Fast-moving good is in your area or in the season where you are. You look at stuff that will go quickly. You look at things that will sell very, very quickly. Well, I did a little bit of study in Ghana, for example, and also found out that return on your investment, like if you borrow 1,000 cedis or 2,000 cedis from the bank, interest rate is about 30%, 35%. The buying and selling brings you only about 10, 15% return. Trust me, the return on investment is not great. So you got to be very careful with that you do not run into debt by borrowing money that you cannot afford to pay. Okay. So the buying and selling, for example, look at it carefully. I'm quite sure something like food, it goes very quickly. Everyone eats. But if you're actually selling, you're selling wax print on credit. Let me use one example. If you are actually going to sell wax print on credit, people don't buy that very often, and they don't pay. They don't pay. So you're going to run into trouble. But look at things, children's clothes, it goes. Children's clothes, it sells. And then also look at the season. If it's Christmas time, there are certain things that will sell. You need to look into all that, okay, and then sell. Now, the next question is, I don't know everyone's situation, but I know it's almost 8:30 now, so I'm coming up to my point now. Maybe we find another time that we could think about planning a small business planning, where we could look at, because there's so many issues that people do, because one of my own niece told me, oh, well, I had a baby, I don't see cash. Yeah, because was it a baby, I know see cash. Now, the reason is, when people are actually going into small side hustle and buying and selling stuff, they are actually not looking into the profit that they are making and utilizing things properly. They eat into the capital straight away. Or if I could speak to you here, you don't mind. Or at the end of the no, he 30 cities are to susu. Then he realized that he's actually paying the susu from the main capital, not the interest you're earning. Not the interest you're earning. We're free to maybe we're here and there, and then they're using the money to pay for the intimana we're free. But somebody from few discussions I've had with people, they were actually pocket money and you couldn't their money. Pocket money and you couldn't their money or the bitususu. Well, I found that a little bit unfair. Okay, so those are some of the things that you look at. Now, one thing that I would suggest from now on with this group is also you can actually form a small SUSU group, or let's say finance support. Sometimes somebody needs only 1,000 cedis to start a little side hustle that will generate income. So if you actually also, as a group, your finance, I don't know where the money is going to come from. It could come from individuals. It could come from your church. It could come from anybody. And then you start off with about, say, 10,000 cedis into the pot. And people can then borrow a little bit of money from it. And then with maybe very small interest, not commercial interest, because they can't afford to pay. And then you could use that to start your small hustle. I don't know. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. So not a big pot of money, but let's say with this group, you said you're playing some SUSU type. We now start off with about 10,000 cedis. And any sister who needs to start a small business but struggling, maybe you want to sell yam around the roadside in the evening, and you don't have money to buy the yam and all the pots. So you could tap in, get about 1,000 cedis from us, and then use that. You pay about 5% interest, 5 to 10% interest on it, and then you generate that. That's a way of supporting ourselves and trying to make everyone being financially independent, especially as women. One thing that will give you a lot of comfort is when you have financial independence. Okay? Yeah. When you have financial independence, that you don't have to run to your husband or somebody somewhere else, always asking for a little bit of extra money here and there. That is really, really stressful. Okay. I'm going to finish off in about 5 minutes, and I will just leave. In case anybody wants to have a question or a contribution or anything you want to suggest, then we could talk about that as well before we sign off.
Okay.
So to sum up, what I've done is I've just explained to you what personal finance is about. I've advised all of you to create a budget for your income and expenditure. Look into your, and one thing before I go, please, as you're women, so I'm going to point this out. I call it, when I do some of these talks, I call it the stuff theory. Stuff. It spells LSTUFF. I'm not quite sure in Ghana whether it applies, but in UK here, the women buy so much stuff they don't need. When you go to somebody's house, I swear they got about 100 pair of shoes. 100. They can count 100 pair of shoes. Some of the shoes, the whole year, they never touch it. It's called stuff theory. Stop buying stuff you don't need. No, I haven't looked at Ghana, but here when I go to some people's house, especially the female, and I do, because these stuff that we do, because I do this in college a lot, and I realized that I wasn't sharing some of these ideas with my Ghanaian community. For example, when I started doing this here, I found out that none of my Ghanaian community were thinking of pension. I wouldn't have time to cover that. That's why I didn't touch it. There will be no time to cover that. But they're not thinking of pension, and the situation is worse in Ghana. A lot of people have gone to 60, 65. Even those who are working, they get to 60, they get retired, and they are crying. Why? They say, what am I going to do? And I said, what were you doing when you were 30, 35, 40? Why didn't you think about when you get to 60 years? Okay. Why did you not think about that as one day, one time, I will be 60? Okay. And even apart from the financial side, there is one aspect of pension that I point out to people: empty life. What does that mean? By the time you turn 60, all your kids are grown and they're gone, and you'll be on your own at home. Maybe if you have a husband who is still alive, or a wife who is still alive, then fine. Otherwise, you will be alone, and you got to start thinking about that when you are 40. Okay, because we won't have time to cover all those things. But One thing that I'll leave you, ladies as well, please buy things that you need, not things that you want or you think you will need. Okay. You don't need 100 pair of shoes. You don't need 100 handbags. How many of them have you got in the house that you never use? Those kind of stuff. That is why I call it the stuff theory. So if you stop, when you are looking at your income and expenditure, you think very carefully about stuff that you buy that you wouldn't need. Thank you all very much. I'll leave you with that. And if you have any question you want to ask me, please let me know, and then we could. Hi, nice to see you, Pastor.
Nice to see you too.
Wow.
It's unfortunate. I wanted to use a bigger screen. That's why I was trying to set up on my laptop. But so I could share a lot of my stuff with you. But unfortunately, it wasn't coming. So and I know why, because the laptop couldn't get the connectivity.
No, it's okay.
So, Pastor, you're going to help me out here. You're going to start off the financial side, the SUSU side, and you're going to manage. The SUSU side that I'm talking about.
Yes, the slides you showed. What really happened?
Yeah.
Can you come
again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you come again?
I said, sir, in order to help people be able to start their side hustle, we will start the SUSU side to get a seed money for them. And you could take charge of that.
Yes. Auntie Ajua has all that planned out, so we worked with her on that.
Okay, and say let's say if we target to start about 20,000 cedis. If we start off with 20,000 cedis, so that your members can take a little bit of it to start their side hustle. Now, when they come to you, they have to explain to you exactly what they're going to do with the money, and think whether it will be viable, whether it will, because not like my niece said, that, and I'm saying, okay, they say, what's your side hustle? What's your over there? Okay, we can know it goes from house to house to do them already. You know what? So come to me, I'm not going to do my nails.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not going to do my nails. Or I only do my nails when there's a wedding or there's going to be a party or something like that. That's when I'm going to do my nails. Ladies also, some of your side hustle could be a makeup artist.
Yes, we have them here. Yeah.
You could do a makeup artist as a side hustle.
Yeah.
You could actually do a bit of sewing and design, fashion design
we have some here.
These are all extra activities, things that you could do to generate a little bit extra income. If that is your main job, then that's not your side hustle. Remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Your side hustle is something you do small outside your main job to generate extra income. I tell you, I do side hustle a lot. I used to do individual teaching, home teaching. I used to, in UK here, people do parcel delivery. They register with Amazon and Just Eat and Uber Eats, and then they deliver it when they come from work. A lot of my friends, some do security at the weekend. Like I said, one of them I know actually does cleaning in the morning. So, for example, if you live in the area, I don't know which area, let's say you hypothetically you live in Achimota, okay? Go and knock at people's doors. So look, if you need somebody to come and clean your house Saturday morning, 2 hours, I'm available.
Yeah.
You knock at their door and say, look, or I can come and cook for you Saturdays. I'm actually good at cooking. So I can come and do all the cooking for you. I don't live with you. I just come in Saturday, do the shopping, do the cooking for you. I get paid and then I'm gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you got to think creatively around you what you could do to increase your income so that it gives you financial freedom.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. I hope I haven't wasted and bored you too much. So I will leave it.
No. We need more of it. Okay.
Yeah, Pastor, you've got a question.
Okay.
Yeah, Pastor Johannes, ask the question.
Okay. Yes. Doctor, thank you very much for sharing this very important nuggets with us.
My brother did I prefer you call me Yao and forget about all the time.
I wanted to know if you could share. I wanted to know if you could share your Excel on the expenditure, the one in the month, weekly, and yearly. If you could share that template with us so that we can share with our members and do some practical exercises.
Yeah, I probably will get.
Grateful.
Yeah, I'll get your email or address email and I'll forward it to you by email. Yeah, I can share it with you because I'll design that.
All right.
Because I took out a lot of.
So I remind that Adjoa, she sent you her email.
Yeah, I took out a lot of stuff from it.
All right.
And
I'll give you my email. Auntie Adjoa will let you have it.
Yeah, I think probably you may or may not also know because my family is also involved in the church. You may not know that. That's a little secret. I have some family members in the church.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Yeah, I think is Amma with us? Is Amma with us?
Yes, it's online, but she's busy doing something.
All right, okay.
That is Amma's LP Amma's brother.
I'm here, Uncle. Yeah, how are you?
Amma is my cousin.
Okay, cousin. Okay.
Yeah, her mom is my auntie.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I can verify that Uncle Yao used to teach us math, so that was his side hustle when we were younger.
Yes, yeah, I do remember that. Okay, yeah, I do remember that, Amma. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I still continue to do a lot of side hustles because I, as a man, and maybe as a leader of my family, I don't want a situation where I'm going to go to my wife, oh, can you lend me £10? That is embarrassing. So I will do whatever I need to do, I will do it in order to make sure I have the financial freedom.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
More questions, please.
Yeah, okay, sure.
5 minutes to run up, please.
Anybody, any question, any idea, any contribution is welcome.
Ma Grace, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
Is Auntie Grace with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. If the person cannot write or read, how do they go about doing a budget and income and expenditure? If some people cannot read or write, so what do they do? What can they
do? Trying to figure out in a creative way what they could do. Because what actually I would have wanted everyone to do is, because if you write these down on a weekly or monthly basis, then you could actually look at it and make adjustments. But if maybe reading and writing, you probably cannot get somebody to do it for you. Okay. I need help and ideas from people. What can someone who have difficulty writing these down do? Because that's some of the problem, because most of the time these things are in our head, because your mom, we taught this. The next day, and also we do, we refugee. And there are a few other details that you could, because for example, tomatoes, you could start thinking of best ways that you could minimize waste, okay, and all that. But I'm not quite sure Auntie Grace will be the best way forward for that.
It's okay. I think one thing also that people have to take account of is that here we have seasonal products. if the person has got a freezer or something, when the things happen, you know, because so that when the prices go up, you wouldn't spend more money on it. You can bulk buy if you can afford it and freeze stuff, you know, for use. But all these depend on your on the income that you have, what you can spare, you know. If you can spare, when tomatoes are in season, you can buy, you grind it, you bag them, you put it in the freezer. That also will help for the future when you haven't got any money, but you have food to depend on so that you don't starve and stuff like that. Are you with me?
Yeah,
So,
and to add
you
to
need
that,
to factor that in as well.
yeah, when I came to Ghana, I noticed that a lot. That at some point you have a big bucket of garden eggs, and it was going for about 20 quid, pound, cedis, sorry. And I thought, oh wow! So trust me, I bought some of the garden eggs last year when I was in Ghana. I still have some of them. When I came back to UK, I actually took off the rod, I clean it and steam cook it, and then put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer, and they are still there. Okay. Tomatoes, you buy tomatoes, you blend them, put them in the plastic containers, and then you could put them in the freezer, and they will go a long way. I always get people to buy pepper for me. Pepper, because the pepper we got here is from Uganda. It's very expensive. So I got a Ghana one, I clean it, steam cook it, put it in bags, and put it in the freezer. And they last more than a year, they still be there. I guess if you don't have a freezer, pepper and okra, you could dry them when the season is there, and then you could bag them, put them somewhere else. These are all ways of minimizing your costs.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I think we will do the part 2 very soon.
Right. The planning for small business.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we could.
Any question?
Anybody? Any ideas? Anything that anybody want to suggest?
I also think that the setup in Ghana may be a little bit different from your background. So when you are, yes, you need to try and cut and really narrate it to the situation in this place so that people can relate it to it a lot more. Because people don't believe here, we don't believe in borrowing and stuff and loans. So we try and live within our means, because the Bible tells us that the borrower is always a slave to the lender, isn't it? So we have this here. So it's important that we try and live within our means rather than depending on support from here, support from there. As you said earlier on, you may not have the money to repay the loan or whatever when it comes to it, because you probably on a small minimal income, you probably took a loan there for school fees, and we need to think seriously about that and try and plan ahead. You know, if you try, you know your kids will be going to school, just have a little pot in the house, put some small money aside every month, every time you get some extra income, put it in there for that rainy day, and put a note on there, oh, this is for my kids' school fees, so that when it comes, you wouldn't have to take a bowl and borrow and stuff like that, you know? So it's important that we think ahead rather than waiting. You know, in here, people tend to pay rent in advance. Some of them, they don't put money aside after they pay the initial outlay. They wait until the time comes to renew it, and then they are stuck. They haven't got anything to pay. And then they're harassing people and stuff like that. So when you pay your premium, your rent for say 3-4 years, make sure every month you put something aside towards the renewal of the rent in 2 or 3 years' time. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's important that you actually think about that, because you don't want to leave yourself stranded when you need it. So forward planning is so important. So you need to factor that into your budgeting as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So I came off because I didn't know my phone wasn't plugged in.
I was saying that people should try and budget for the future when they have we pay rent and 3 years or so in advance. So after you pay every month you need to try and have a pot aside, set some money aside for the time when you have to.
To reiterate what Auntie Grace just said, that is so important because I've seen that over and over. People, when they pay their 2 years rent in advance, they think I'm done until next 2 years. And then they wait until 2 years when the landlord is demanding or have increased the rent.
They renew it, rather than leave it to when the time gets closer, then you are harassing the rent.
Then they're going around trying to, that is not giving you financial freedom. Okay. So
that is a problem in Ghana here.
It is a problem, and we at Abuja here, we are barely the brunt of it. Every cousin and friend of yours wants money for rent. And I said, so what have you been doing the past 2 years when you actually was not paying rent? Maybe last time somebody helped you. So since then you will be putting the supposed rent aside in a pot somewhere. So that when it comes to the rent, you'll be able to afford it.
Yeah. Okay, Lady Epiakoto, please. You have something to say. Last one.
Please, good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask the percentage. Is it how should I say? Is it a straitjacket like percentage, or you yourself will determine the percentage that will go into each thing?
No, it's not a straitjacket. It's you decide. But if you, for example, realize that 70% of your income is going to rent, that should worry you.
Just like medicine.
Okay, so let's say, for example, my sister, you've gone to rent an apartment in Airport Hills, okay? And then you realize that 70% of your income is going to it. That's not realistic. Think about it carefully. Can you afford it? So the percentage is not a straitjacket, but you have to think about it. I cannot put 70% of my income in rent, so I need to find a cheaper accommodation.
Okay.
And for example, if you look at your food and it's taking about 40%, okay, so you have to think about it. Can I reduce it to about 35 or 30%? So that I don't get into difficulty.
Okay. In Ghana here, bro, I think that what takes much from us is our rent, transportation, and the feeding. Rent, transportation. Somebody is ending at the end of the month 1,000 cedis, but maybe he stays at Kokomemre and the work is at Dansoman. In and out, at the end of the month, about 60% of the money is gone.
Into transport.
Into transport.
Okay.
That is another problem in Ghana.
Can you help me out here? Like Auntie Grace was saying, I'm not 200% familiar with a lot of the things. Like I have to say, when I'm doing some of these things in my college and in some of the things that, because mainly I do this to help people to avoid getting into debt, because here people borrow money. We have all means of borrowing: overdraft, credit cards, bank loans, and stuff, and store cards and all that. And that's the problem. But in Ghana, it's different. I understand that. Now, what is the main means of transport to and from Kokomemre to Dansoman, for example?
Okay, from Kokomemre to Dansoman, I don't know much, but I think by 8 cedis, 10 cedis. Okay, Joyce.
Mom, let's do from Kaswa to Dansoman.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
For me working in Dansoman, I have to take 3 cars before getting to my destination.
Mercy.
Now, can I ask, 3 cars, is it trotro or taxi?
Okay.
Or Uber?
Taxi from my house to the main junction.
Mm-hmm. How far is it? How far is it?
About 15 minutes walk to the main junction.
Why don't you walk?
Early, here in Ghana, sometimes early in the morning, there's sun scorched so hardly that you get sweat. Right, you end up sweating before getting to work.
Oh, I was going to advise you to get flat shoes.
Okay.
And that will be your 5 a day.
Okay.
You know what we mean by 5 a day?
No, please.
Right. Antiques, can you help me? Is he gone? Okay. 5 a day is where you do physical activities or eat nutritional food, like vegetables and other things to keep you healthy. So instead of you going to the gym, paying expensive money to use gym or other things, you decide that my physical activity in the morning is me walking from my house into the station to get a taxi. For example, in my case, for example, I use myself as an example now. Since my kids didn't need to go to school anymore, I packed my car. And every day from my house to the train station is about 15 minutes walk. And I do that walking. And when I get to the other end, and then I get into the train to get to the other one. When I get to the other end, it's another 15 minutes. So from my house to the train, 15 minutes. From train station to my work, another 15 minutes. I've got 30 minutes. I do the same way back. I've got 1 hour of brisk walking every day. And that is my physical activities, my 5 a day. You need to do brisk activities 5 times a day, and that covered.
Okay. So Joyce, I want you to continue from Kaswa to...
Yeah, from my place to the junction is 3 cedis. And from the junction to Dansoman Junction at 7 cedis. And from
that's 10 cedis.
Yeah, and from Dansoman Junction to the office is probably 250 pesos.
Okay, so roughly you spend about 12 cedis.
50 pesos.
Yes.
That is one way. That's one way.
Yeah, so yeah, that's one way. In and out will be 23 cedis. Yeah, 23 cedis. And looking at Dansoman, food is very costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes you manage and eat once only.
One meal a day.
1 meal a day. Yeah, 1 meal a day. That's the normal routine from Kaswa to Dansoman.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, because I'm trying to get myself filled in the normal working life. How do you eat lunch at work?
Mostly I don't eat lunch at work.
Wow, okay. So you eat breakfast home, and then you
eat breakfast
then you skip lunch.
I skip lunch.
And then you come back home and then you get something else to eat.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That's the normal routine.
Maybe my personal one is I probably will have a fruit or a drink, orange tea in the morning for my breakfast. Then I do my packed lunch. And sometimes, you know what I do for my packed lunch? The leftover food that the kids won't eat. Here, the kids here are a bit spoiled. They are a bit spoiled. So they throw away so much food. So for example, when we cook rice and they eat a little bit, they're going to throw it away. I pack all of them into a packed lunch bowl, and I keep them in the fridge. And that is my lunch.
Okay.
Sometimes I do sandwich, get bread, put a bit of vegetable salad in it, plus tuna, and then I'm done. And then I take it with me in my pocket. I keep it in my lunch box. I have my lunch bag here. If my camera, I will show you. And then I take it with me to work. So in other words, I'm trying to cut back. I'm trying to not spend a lot of money on lunch. But you skip it away, and that's not very healthy anyway. But
we'll try to.
Now, is there any reason why you cannot move a bit closer to where your work is?
Yeah, due to rent causes.
So because I was thinking maybe you were living where you are living in Dansoman, is cheaper. Is that correct?
Dansoman rents are not cheaper. It's rather higher.
And are you on your own, or you're with your husband?
I'm with my husband.
Your partner. Okay.
Yes, with the
family. And his work, is it around the Dansoman area? Because I'm trying to look at restrictions. Otherwise, it will make more financial sense if you move a bit closer to your work to avoid taking car transport about 4 times to get to work. But how long does it take you on the average from home to work?
From home to work, probably 1 hour 30 minutes.
Wow, that is a lot. Because imagine 1 hour 30 minutes in, 1 hour 30 minutes out. That's 3 hours of your life every day. Okay. That's 3 hours of your life. And probably it's something that you and your husband need to talk about and discuss and see what else could be done. For example, I don't know what you do, but if you could find work that is closer to you, or
I have a side hustle after work. That's what helps in moving.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I have a side hustle that I do after work.
That is important. Well done for that. I'll give you credit for that. Later on, I would like to know a lot more about, because I'm quite keen on the side hustle. I'm quite keen on the side hustle.
I do this thing called Indomie and spaghetti at night after work.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. And that Indomie thing, I didn't actually know what it was. Honestly, I have to admit. When people were saying Indomie, I didn't know what it was. And I got myself embarrassed because I went to a shop here and somebody said, "Oh, uncle, can you buy me Indomie?" And I said, "What is it?" And then I found out. But I know it's something that goes very well in Ghana. It goes. And it's a fast moving item. And don't, because some people say, "Oh, me graduate when I'm in control Indomie." Well, to hell with it. So what? To hell with it. So what? Because you're doing it in order to support yourself and your husband and the family. It doesn't really matter at all. As far as you have something else that you're doing to support yourself and the family and generate. But you need to look into, for example, you've identified, that transport costs a lot of your money, and then the food and all that, and you got to look into it and see. Trust me, my sister, if you decide to go a car of your own, it's not going to make it cheaper.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't have the money, you have to take a loan to buy the car. And then you have to have fuel maintenance and everything else. And the car is very expensive to run as well. But the car will save you a lot of the time. Because if you're driving to and from work, it will save you probably an hour. So in that case, you will gain the time, but you got to look at whether that would be a best alternative to what you're doing now. Say, for example, as you work, you pay about £30 a day on transport, right? Roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. Okay. If you multiply it by 5 days, that's £150, right?
Cedis.
Yeah. Sorry, 150 cedis transport a week. Multiplied by 4, that's a month. Okay. Now, what I'm working out, what I'm working out now? What about if you take a bungalow to get an old banger? Do you drive?
No.
No, okay. Because I was thinking, if you can, because if you spend about 600 cedis, or 500 cedis, and then if you take a loan and you pay that will give you a bit of leeway there. You see, this session is just to bring this up for you to start thinking very carefully about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but start thinking very, very carefully about these things, because it is quite difficult. And for example, that you have to skip meal in order to make ends meet. And I think you're not on your own. It's typical.
Yep.
Okay, it's quite typical. And things that I've discussed with other people, try to find a way. If, for example, you could move a bit closer, or find a job where you are that you don't have to change about 3-4 times. And I don't know the traffic situation in Accra probably is improved or hasn't. I'm not sure about that, but that also contributes. And when you're doing your budget as well, don't forget about healthcare thing.
Yes.
Don't know how it works there. It's also essential.
Okay.
Yes, but carry on with your side hustle and expand it. When I come to Ghana, I'll come and see your side hustle and I'll come and enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because from Achimota, where I live, which is not far from where Auntie Grace is, to the flyover, and I'm going around there, and the people, some were frying yams, some were frying fish, some were frying pork, and so many people were patronizing it. And that's a little bit of a side hustle you could do. You go to work, come home, and then you do that little thing to support yourself. And but obiko fashion free mokola no dey free.
Yeah.
Because it's not a fast moving good. And people who buy, they probably will not pay, and I don't know how much is the profit margin.
Okay.
So you got to link.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. I hope I haven't bored you and taken too much of your time.
At all.
About an hour now, so I will leave it and get people to go and get on with their side hustle.
Yes.
Yeah. Saturday, everyone is busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Is Adwa online? Is Adwa Yeboah there?
She's here.
She's here. Okay.
Okay. All right. Then thank you all very much and have a good day.
Mommy, Vic is
okay.
Online.
Please
Vic
wait. Please wait.
Vic.
Okay, Adwa, we are waiting for you. Is Adwa there?
Yes,
Adwa?
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My place.
Okay. Adwa, we are not hearing you. Okay, so let's use Rejoice.
Mommy.
We want you to say thank you to Doctor.
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay. Dr. Yao, I heard you saying that you prefer calling Dr. Yao.
My brother Dindi Yao.
Dr. Yao. I'm a brother Dindi Ajoa. Dr. Yao, on behalf of Crazy Lady, I'd like to share a very big thank you for this insight.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. God bless you so much.
All right, okay. Thank you all very much. And it's nice meeting and interacting with all of you. Hopefully, when I'm in Ghana, I'll be able to see some of you in person.
Yes. Yes. Brad, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, and have a good day.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Is Della there? Della is not available. Okay. Rejoice, can you pray for us? Hello. Joyce. 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 Okay. Episika.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, then pray for us. I think the hosts, as the host office come, it has affected everybody. So
he's not. I think that's the time now. I lapse.
Yes, we are done actually. Okay. So you can pray for us.
Okay. God bless all of you. God bless all of you for coming. God bless you so much. Let's close our eyes and pray. So we have asked the doctor to send us the Excel so that to share it, so that we use it practically. Okay. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for such a fruitful time to learn about finances. We pray that whatever we have learned, give us the grace to be disciplined. Give us the grace to practice what we have learned so that we can develop a better life financially for ourselves, our homes, and everyone around us. In Jesus' name have we prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for all the ladies.
Amen. God bless you.
Please, next 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I have to.